So if you're gearing up for your apartment search or you know it's coming up in the near future, here are 5 myths that can negatively impact your apartment search that we're going to debunk and clear up right now. Myth number 1, you must have perfect credit to rent an apartment here in Austin, Texas or surrounding areas. Not true. Now, there are minimums, there are levels to credit, but you don't need perfect credit to rent an apartment. If you do say you have less than stellar or less than amazing credit, then typically you will be approved, or as they would call, approved with conditions. And if you're approved with conditions, you may have to make a larger deposit. You may have to put down maybe the deposit plus first month's rent. You may have to pay a little bit more. There may be some additional fees, but you can still rent the apartment without perfect credit. The reason why not knowing this can negatively impact your apartment search is because you may limit yourself to the type of properties that you could actually get in. That's a negative. If you can't get what you want or something at least similar to what you want based on where you are, that's a negative search. So let's clear that myth up. You don't need perfect credit. Try it. Make sure that you understand the minimums before you submit the applications so you're not paying additional application fees. Myth number 2, first apartment you see should be the one that you go with. Absolutely not. Not true. Don't do that. The reason why I say that is because I know you may be thinking, well, Marcus, an apartment is an apartment is an apartment is an apartment. Every apartment's going to have a pool. Every apartment's going to have a resident lounge. Yes, true. In most cases, they will. But see at least 3 properties, 3 apartment properties. The reason for that is because you want to have something to compare the first one to. You want to have another one to compare the second one to. And I always say 3 because 3 is the lowest number that you can actually see or involve that may be the tiebreaker between the first 2, right? So that's why I say at least 3. There may be nuances or there may be quality differences that you notice between the same amenity or the same things between properties. So at least go see 3 before making a decision. Don't let the first one you see be the only one you see to make a decision. Myth number 3, and this is probably a bigger one because I hear this a lot. Renting is throwing money away instead of buying a home. Listen, that comment makes it seem like you only have one choice in life, that you can either rent or own. And what I like to share is see renting as a step before you buy or a step before you own, maybe say through an investments. If you've watched my videos for a while, you've probably heard me say this a long time ago. I have always said, if you can buy comfortably, then buy. But if you can't, rent. Increase your inflows, stockpile money from those inflows, and then buy in the way of investing if you like the renting, okay? Don't look at it as an end-all be-all that if you have to rent for a year or a few years, that's the end of your life. No, this may be a step or 2 before you own. And I say if you can buy comfortably, then buy. That means buying uncomfortably means that you've put everything into a home, you don't have any cash reserves, and you are what they call house rich and cash poor. You bought a house and now you have to sit in that house for the next 3 years because you don't have any available discretionary funds to do anything else. If you can buy comfortably, then buy. But if you're renting or want to rent or need to rent, don't look at it as an end all be all. The reason why that can impact your search negatively, because that just puts you in a bad space. It just puts you in just in a very limited mindset, and you go into renting an apartment begrudgingly. You go into it negatively. You go into it with resentment, and that is no way to live. If you know you want to buy a home, just know that, hey, this renting step should be a step. And really, when it comes down to buying a home, that's going to be based on your financial discipline and what you decide to do with your money while you rent. And this is, again, I'm spending a little more time on this because I hear this a lot. And what I share with individuals is like, listen, when you are renting in an apartment and you know you want to own, whether you want to buy the house that you live in or you want to start investing and you want to get ownership that way, right? Because let's be honest, wealth and financial freedom does come from equity and ownership. So I am a proponent of owning, but if you have to rent first, understand that you're not going to have some of the cost and some of the payments that a homeowner is going to have if you're renting an apartment. So think about that. Use that time while you're renting wisely. When you're renting, you don't have property taxes. Homeowners do. When you're renting, if something breaks, you call the maintenance team. They come fix it. You don't have to go get a quote and pay for things to be fixed like homeowners do, right? So those are what I call phantom savings, right? Because you don't really have it right now, but you know that if you want to own that, that's what you're going to have to use. Don't use that money to go party. Don't use that money to go buy frivolous stuff. Don't go buy a bigger brand new car if your car is just fine. Use the phantom savings to stockpile and get yourself prepped and prepared for owning in the future. So that is myth number 3. Use renting to your advantage. Renting can just be a step or two before you owning. Myth number 4. Marcus, I'll pay higher rent if I use an apartment locator. I'm an apartment locator. Not true. That is not true. The truth is, properties that work with locators, I'm a locator, have a marketing budget that they use to pay out locators. So it does not come out of your rent directly. You are not absorbing the cost for working with the locator. For properties that have a marketing budget for locators, we're paid out of that marketing budget. For properties that do not work with locators, because there are several, they do not have a marketing budget for locators. Therefore, neither one of those scenarios impact your rent directly. So don't even worry about that. The reason why this myth can impact your apartment search negatively is because if you're already busy, you're already juggling a lot, working with the locator can definitely be helpful because we handle some of the details for you. But if you believe that your rent's going to go up, you're like, well, no, I need to handle it all myself. And now I have to add this additional item or set of items to my list while I'm also trying to figure out how to move and having to pack and got to plan logistics and all the other paperwork, switching jobs. You don't need to add to that list. This does not, working with the locator does not impact your rent directly. What you pay to the apartment has nothing to do with working with a locator. And then lastly, myth number 5. Utilities are already included in the rent. This is not true on a general scale. Now, there are properties or smaller properties that do offer utilities tied into the rent, but these are typically smaller properties. They're not going to be apartment properties that will be in like dense popular areas if you're looking to be like in the center or the heart of the city, right? So if here in Austin, if you are trying to live downtown or if you're trying to live in the Mueller area or if you're trying to move into like Domain, typically those utilities are going to be separate. They need to be set up directly with the city or the county that is providing or maintaining those utilities. It is not included in the rent. So when you're looking at rent like online for a particular apartment, please understand that is the base rent. That's not utilities. And your utilities are typically going to be utility based, meaning your usage, how much you use it, right? For the person who uses the air condition a lot during the hottest time of the summer, your utility bill is going to be higher than your neighbor who uses a little bit of air condition during the same period because it's based on how much you use versus being one set amount. So also know that as well. The reason why believing that myth will negatively impact your apartment search is because you will find yourself being disappointed a lot when you're trying to go from property to property and property because you're like, I want all bills included. I don't want to pay anything except for one thing. And then you run into all these properties. You're like, well, sorry, you're going to have rent. You're going to have your amenity fees, your pest control fee, your trash fee, which will be all in your rent. But then your utilities is going to be another set. And you're like, well, that's not what I want. So this is not the property for me. And that's not going to be a lot of properties. So know that going in, don't negatively impact your apartment search, believing that myth. Again, are there some smaller properties that offer that? Yes. And these are typically going to be smaller, somewhat older as well, just in my experience. There may be some that are a little bit bigger that offer it, but those are typically the exception more than the rule. So I just want to give that as a heads up so you know that moving forward as well. So just want to make this quick video. I hope it was helpful. I hope just kind of tackling each one of those myths gives you a little bit more insight before going into your apartment search. If you want a little bit of help, feel free to give me and my team a call. We'd love to help out, make this a little bit easier for you. And if you are already in an apartment, you're good to go, and maybe you're looking just to get a couple of things to make your apartment a home, go ahead and take a look at the description or the comments. We have some links in there for you. We've already done the search on Amazon for you, so just click the links and I'll go ahead and take that item right off of your to-do list. We already got you covered there. If there's anything I've missed, please leave me a comment. Let me know. I'll see to do my best to get it in a future video. And until next time, stay awesome.
Whoa.